Hi everyone. It is 11:06 p.m. on a Thursday night, and I am trying to stay awake and entertain myself to watch the lunar eclipse at 1:30 a.m. So I'm going to talk about Friday and Saturday severe weather between the Chicago area, Illinois, and Mississippi in the Deep South. That's all I'm really going to talk about. So if you don't care about that stuff, you can go ahead and skip this video that I'm making here. But let's unpack it a little bit. So as for Friday, we have some severe weather for Chicago and entire state of Illinois and most of the Midwest and parts of the Deep South. So we have a moderate, enhanced, slight, and marginal risk issued all across north and south of mid-America pretty much. The moderate covers areas like Springfield, Missouri, nope, St. Louis, Missouri, Springfield, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, Decatur, and Champaign. Moderate meaning that you are the highest risk for severe weather. And why is that? You've got a high tornado risk. So there is a 10% chance of tornadoes for this giant chunk of area here, which is including Memphis, Tennessee, Springfield, Missouri, Jackson, Mississippi, Springfield, Illinois, and Evansville, Indiana. This 10% tornado also is accompanied with a hatched area, which means that there is a 10% or greater probability of an EF2 to EF5 tornado within 25 miles of that point of the 10% hatched yellow area. So we could be seeing some strong tornadoes up and down this entire area, but a tornado can't be ruled out for areas in the brown, which include Nashville, Birmingham, Des Moines, Iowa, Little Rock, Arkansas, Aurora, Illinois, or this little green area on the outside of the brown, which includes Chicago, Indianapolis, Kansas City, Omaha, and Louisville. There is also a high wind risk on Friday. Very high, a 45%, if you will, risk for significant severe wind. This includes pretty much the same areas within the tornado. Like I mentioned earlier, Springfield, Illinois, St. Louis, Missouri, Peoria, Decatur, and Champaign. And you're also in a hatched area, which is a 10% or greater probability of wind gusts 65 knots or greater within 25 miles of a point in that pink area, and within that red area, and within this yellow area where that black line ends is where this hatched thing ends. But again, I wouldn't rule out high winds for anyone sitting in this yellow area, and it could get a little bit gusty for people in the brown area. So pretty much about what I think the number is 70 million people are impacted between Friday storm system and Saturday storm system, meaning that you can't rule out any severe weather for yourself if you're not in any of the major dark colors. So lastly, we've got hail. The hail, it's a little bit everywhere right now. It'll probably be more fine-tuned by tomorrow when they update all of these graphics, and the same goes for all three of these things. But the hail right now pretty much only sits around Missouri. St. Louis, St. Charles, St. Peters, Missouri, Florissant, I believe, Missouri, and this always glitches on me, Chesterfield, Missouri, and I think if I'm correct, areas like Effingham, Mount Vernon, and a little bit of Springfield are affected by hail. There's also within this black circle with arrows is the hatched area that also wraps up areas like Memphis, Nashville, Omaha. You could see hail that is 10% or greater in probability of a 2-inch in diameter thing of hail within 25 miles of this black circle. So that's some pretty large hail that could fall with this system. So you have pretty much the parameters for you here laid out that I gave you. Let's talk about timing with the weather story. So this is posted by the National Weather Service in Chicago. So I'm going to give this for the Chicagoland perspective real quick. So for your timing wise, if you live out in St. Louis, if you live west of Illinois, you'll start to see this stuff 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. So areas west of Rockford, areas west of Interstate 39 here, off far west of the state, Quad Cities. That's when you'll see most of your severe weather come through. So we have primarily our threat area-wide is wind, the straight line winds, and I'll show you on the radar what I mean by this. We also have tornadoes. Our tornado threat will stay primarily southwest of Pontiac, but that doesn't mean we won't see a tornado maybe even as far north as Waukegan. So that's why we have this tornado threat in the especially southwest of Rockford and Paxton. We also have damaging hail. That's more towards central Illinois, but again, hail can't be ruled out. And flash flooding, I wouldn't worry about it because this rain's going to dump real quick and go away. As you can see, it's a very fast northeast moving storm, meaning it'll move, if you watch my cursor, northeast. So it'll quickly move in as quick as it leaves, so we shouldn't have to worry about any flooding. So here's your severe weather threat, excuse me. Pretty much the 1, 2, 3, and 4, like I showed you, with the green being the least one amount to worry about. 2 being, oh, you should keep a lookout. 3 is, oh, this is strong, and 4 is, oh goodness. Have a plan. Everybody should have a plan when it comes to severe weather, but really, you guys in the 3 and 4 need to have a plan for these tornadoes and destructive winds. So when thunder roars, move indoors and have multiple ways of getting weather warnings because this will happen in the evening and nighttime. I wouldn't say this is a nocturnal event because we shouldn't be asleep when our big tornado threat is occurring, but knock on wood, you never know. Um, After all this moves through, we do have a strong wind threat on Saturday. Sustained winds, I believe, were in the 25 to 30 miles per hour marking, with gusts up to 50. If you do live in Illinois, you've realized there might be a lot of fires. I think brush fires keep happening around here lately. I think one just happened in Wakanda, if you know where that is, Wakanda, Illinois. So don't light anything on fire, and don't throw your cigarette butts out the car because they keep lighting fields on fire, and we have a lot of wind, meaning we get big fires. So, as for your 5-day, here's pretty much everything. Severe weather, tomorrow windy, or Saturday windy, possibly a mixed rain snow because we live in Illinois and we're so bipolar. 76 on Friday, dropping all the way to 42 on Sunday. That is a big temperature difference, and then by Tuesday you're never going to remember all the cold because it's going to be warm again. So real quick, let's just take a peek at the radar. Here you go. This is 8 p.m. I really wouldn't look at the timing. I'm not going to talk about the timing too much because I would trust their graphics made by Chicago over the timing of the NAM that we're looking at. So this is really just, let's just look at it. So here's St. Louis gets impacted right here. So when you start to see what kind of looks like a more broken up line, and that line means that there is moisture able to be pulled instead of one consistent big moisture line. When you get the broken up system, that's when you start to see some tornadic movement because you could pull so much moisture, and we have high dew points the more south you go. But if you live north of, say, Effingham and Mount Vernon, which sit in southern Illinois, that's where we'll see that straight line bow echo, if you will, storm system that moves through really strong here when we're in central Illinois, Bloomington, Normal, Champaign, Rockford, anywhere out west of Chicagoland. Really, we'll start to see that strong storms and the wind here, and then we get to Chicago. Here's when the storm reaches. It says 1 a.m. here. Maybe it will. I'm not good with the timing. This is when it starts to get a little concerning because areas in Kankakee County, south of Kankakee County, it really starts to break up. And that's when I'm telling you that moisture gets pulled. Now, I'm not guaranteeing there's going to be a big tornado threat up here because it didn't say there was, but it can't be ruled out. So while we might have some embedded tornadoes sitting within our bow echo straight line storm squall system, whatever you want to call it, QLCS if you're fancy, well, that's where you'll actually see those embedded tornadoes, like I mentioned, and then outside of that, you'll see the, well, I don't want to use this word, but supercell is the best thing I can think of, where you get these little storms that can just pull that moisture. Like I said, I'm being repetitive, but I just want to show you this broken up system. You scoot forward a little bit, and that's when things kind of start to bubble away. After that, we get left behind with sitting. If you look at these are isobars, these are lines of pressure, 982, 84, 86, 88, 90. When you have these lines really close, because if you look farther out, the lines get farther. It's not hard to tell, but when they're really close, winds are really strong. And these lines are fairly close, but if we skip a little bit ahead, they get farther apart. That's why I'm telling you that the winds are going to be really strong following the storm system, that they're not just going to go away, that we're going to have these gusty winds because of the pressure being so close. And yeah, this snow, let's not worry about that because it's not going to affect us. Oh, wait, here's some snow. Haha, just kidding. Anyway, so Lastly, I just want to show you this for Chicago. This is an experimental graphic of hazardous weather outlook that they're trying to use at the office. I think they're testing with it. I don't really know. I've been dabbling with it. So here's the severe thunderstorm. This is what we saw earlier on the weather story. It's pretty much the same exact thing. We have tornadoes. So 2% here, 5. I didn't get that number right, but whatever. The hail. There's like an odd cutout, but you have to think of it as a gradient. So here I am. This is my house here. Essentially, you got to think about it as like the yellow fading into the green. So it's not going to be a sharp cutoff. So areas in Cook County, DuPage County, you really could see some of that um, hail activity that I was talking about. Lightning, this thing's, I mean, pretty much everyone's going to see lightning because it's a straight line to a system. This is the wind for Friday night. So, oh, it's breaking on me. This is the wind for Friday night, strong, and then the wind for Saturday. This is what I was talking about, really strong. This is a 3. So think about, or this is technically 4 if you were to think about it in this color. So think about it, the wind were super strong. Ooh, yeah. And then, yeah, I don't know what the marine hazard is, but don't go out on your boat on Saturday because it's going to be too windy. Anyways, that's all I have for Chicago. So I'm going to quickly, because this is long and I guess this part is also pretty interesting, let's look at Mississippi. So if you happen to be viewing this and you're from Starkville, I recommend you skip ahead to here because this is what you want to see. You are sitting in, okay, I should start with this. Saturday is the same thing I already told you about pretty much. You're part of that broken up storm system. A tornado can't be ruled out. You will have severe weather coming your way Saturday, or I'm sorry, Friday night. I think I've been saying Saturday. Friday night, the timing 6 a.m. Friday to 6 a.m. Saturday. This is a ridiculous time span. But there's always a chance for these severe storms to be popping up through uh, the entire time of that timing. But like I says, the confidence is low, but an isolated cell can't be ruled out for areas in the 2. The confidence is not good, but the area has the best potential for any severe storms in this enhanced thing. So this is the same exact thing that's going through Illinois, but it will be more broken up. So it won't be as much of a squall line. And then we'll really see that broken up stuff Saturday. This is the severe weather threat for Saturday. We have a moderate, enhanced, and slight. Yellow being slight, orange being enhanced, red being moderate. Moderate is something that the National Weather Service does not issue frequently, and I don't even know if National Weather Service in Jackson has issued a moderate yet for 2025. Don't quote me on that, I just don't remember. So this is probably going to be a destructive storm for the deep south. Much more destructive than we'll see outside of Chicago. Maybe central Illinois, you could see some heavy stuff, but this is going to be heavy. I'm not going to say it now, but this little pink guy here, I wouldn't be shocked if that gets put into effect tomorrow morning with the next issuing, because this is still an entire 24 hours away. Wouldn't be surprised. Don't quote me on it. So, Saturday, tornadoes likely for anywhere in this. This is including Columbus. This includes Starkville. This is Oktibbeha County, Mississippi State. This includes Eupora. This includes Yazoo City, Brookhaven, Natchez, Hattiesburg, Laurel, Meridian, Philadelphia, Louisville. This includes pretty major. Oh, I missed the most important one. Jackson, the entirety of Jackson, Flowood, Pearl, Madison, Clinton. All these major areas are impacted by this moderate risk, and this extends into Alabama too. I could click on back to our Storm Prediction Center for Saturday. We can move it to the day 3 outlook. This goes all the way into Birmingham, where my cursor is here. Probabilistic 45% is crazy for being a day 3, and day 3 doesn't show you all the tornado wind and stuff. That'll show you it tomorrow, but this is. And it's already got a hatched area all the way out to areas like Nashville, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Atlanta, Georgia, New Orleans. I mean, this is going to be a strong, strong system. So, why exactly is severe weather so strong? Well, we've got these tornadoes likely, some strong, some long tracked, meaning long tornadoes that are on the ground, large hail up to golf ball size. That's all within the moderate risk. These damaging winds will be much stronger than the severe weather we've seen the past couple of times in Starkville and across Mississippi. We have seen some tornadic activity for 2025, but I'm led to believe this will be the strongest that we've had so far for the year. We have this orange risk as well for Greenwood, Greenville, I believe Memphis. Um, Barely Memphis, my bad. But you will see tornadoes likely within this green area. Damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour and large hail as well. Obviously, I can't show you the hail amount yet because I don't have that. I can't show you the wind. That'll be tomorrow. But I can show you this. I have this set timing wise. It said mid-morning to mid-afternoon. Here it is, 1 a.m., March 15th. This is Saturday at 1 a.m. we're looking at. We have what already appears to be the dissipating effects of the squall line that is currently going through northern Illinois. Broken up down here by Memphis. Anywhere south of Memphis starts to see the broken up effects, and this is when we see the dew points that are really just pushing from the Gulf into Mississippi, into Alabama, into parts of Louisiana, all the way up to Nashville and into Georgia. We really see that dew point get trapped down here by the low pressure system, and that's when you start to see supercell formation. And the reason why I keep talking about supercell and being broken up is because if you look on a radar, you see how broken up these look, how these look so scattered? That's what could be a supercell. It's not that straight line storm with the embedded tornadoes within the line of storms. This is going to be separate little things. Think about it as if I just zoom this ahead real quick, where you see this little thing that I'm circling has no other type of strong storms under it that so think if the air is blowing or sucking up air from down south and moisture, there is no storm below it sucking up moisture. So if that thing singles out by itself, able to just suck up air and moisture over and over, that thing will fuel to get stronger and stronger. Obviously on radar, it might show that it disappears, but when you get a little cell system alone like that in the perfect conditions, that is when tornadic activity occurs. And this is pretty astonishing. I mean, we're looking at 6 a.m. here. These are possible supercells hitting the border of where even Meridian, Macon, Mississippi, areas like that crossing into Alabama. This is Birmingham at 8 a.m. We've got supercell activity. This is out here in Mississippi. I think Kemper County, Neshoba County, towards Philadelphia, Newton County, even out by Vicksburg. I don't remember what county they're in. We're starting to see that formation of storms just clump it together. And that will carry on. And here's 10 a.m. where we really start to see what it just looks so fuzzy and it's hard to make out. But this is that mid-morning, mid-afternoon where we really start to see things pop up. And it just doesn't do a great job. None of the models do. I'm not fancy enough to show you the fancy stuff, but we just have this. This is what I believe is the supercell behavior that I'm telling you about. See how this like line of rain is just a straight line? This is what happens in Illinois on Friday. This is what happens in the deep south on Saturday. I don't know how many times I can repeat it to get the idea across to you. And then it pans out and kind of becomes what looks to be a straight line storm wind system that'll just move on out. Sorry for the clicking noise. But anyways, this is the just supercell behavior that we start to see in the deep south when it comes to tornado season. And yeah, it's going to be a strong one. So that's all I can really tell you about that because I don't have much I can dive into. But if you're within any of these severe weather threat areas Saturday, have a way to find severe weather alerts. Have a way to stay weather aware. And I'm going to click on Birmingham real quick. So Birmingham is not a part. Okay, yeah, here's Birmingham. They've got the timing for you. This is a daytime thing, except for nighttime on the eastern side of Alabama. So have a way to be alerted by the weather. Have a way to stay weather aware because we've got quite the doozy between um, Friday's system with all this stuff and Saturday's system with all this stuff. And even Sunday, we've got the coast, get some action as well, East Coast. So have a way to be alerted. I just realized I talked for 19 minutes about the weather, so if you didn't watch this whole thing, that's okay. If you did, I really appreciate it. I am not Ryan Hall, y'all, the YouTuber. I'm just bored and wanted to post this, and I yapped. So, stay weather prepared, stay alert, and if these storms do come at the nighttime, have a way to wake up and take shelter if entirely possible. So, I just crossed the 20-minute threshold of talking, so thank you all and enjoy this